Happy Monday, FlossTube. Hello, crafty friends. My name's Caroline. Welcome back, Daily Crafty Chat. It is almost 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and I have had one of those Mondays where I've been almost behind before my feet hit the floor out of bed today. So I'm taking a little breather in my day to have a chat with you. Okay, so I have some crafting progress to share with you. I know I normally do a giveaway on Mondays over on the Facebook group. Last week I was going to give away 4 charts, the Flossmas 2020 Holiday Ornament by Patty Brake. I'm going to do that tomorrow because I haven't had a chance to pull the winners yet, and I'd like to be able to contact them immediately so I can get started on the process of getting your emails to have the pattern sent to. So if you'll forgive me, I'm going to do the Because Monday on a Tuesday this week. So I have some crafty progress to share with you. I worked on my sock, one of my 2 socks that I currently have on the needles at the moment. This is a beautiful yarn by Leo and Roxy, and it's an 80-20, 80% merino, 20% nylon mix. And I think I said I was almost at the heel, but I fibbed the last time I shared this with you because I wasn't anywhere near the heel. So now I'm almost at the heel, I think. I do like a longer sock, and I actually haven't measured it. And I think this is one of those cases of Caroline-itis where I underestimate things all the time. So I could maybe have, I can't see that I have, you know what? I have a rule. I have my sewing cutting ruler right here. Look at my giant ruler right there. This is a gripper. I just got this at a local sewing store, and it has little suction cups that I wet, and then you suction it. It looks like my kids and John, frankly, let's be honest, they like to pick this up and they go, hello. I know, but you can see it, right? You can see that would be something that a 12-year-old would do, and a 50-year-old who sometimes acts like a 12-year-old. So this is actually one of the best things that I ever bought for cutting fabric with, because it keeps your fingers out of the way, and it also helps the ruler to not, it keeps the ruler a little more stable on your fabric. It doesn't slide quite as easily. What's it called? I think it's just called a gripper. And what else was I going to tell? Oh, I have a couple of them because they are so useful. I think you can get them for the shower as well. They're similar to the types of things that you can put in the shower if you want to have a grip in your shower for a handle. So that holds my ruler. So let's have a quick check of where I'm at here, and then maybe I'll stop. Oh yeah, I'm only at not even 5.5 inches. Normally I go to at least 6.5, sometimes 7 inches before I start the heel. 7 might be a bit long for this sock. I think I'll go 6.5. So in fact, I'm almost at 5.5. So I really only have another, oh no, I lie. I wasn't holding it down. So I have 1.25 inches. I have 1.25 inches to go. So there. No more underestimating. I did wind the skein for the heels and toes. This is the mini that goes with that yarn. And the pattern that I'm using, all of the information for my projects that I'm working on are listed in the drop-down box below. Because I talk about these projects pretty much every day, sometimes it's very, very easy for me to forget to say the details out loud, because these daily videos just become a bit like a conversation I do feel like I'm having with you as a friend, and sometimes I forget that you might be a new friend and maybe you didn't hear me say something 10 other times. So I do try. I have been trying really hard the last couple of weeks to make sure that my project information is in the drop-down box below. just in case I forget to say something and you're wondering about it. So the sock pattern, my favorite sock pattern that I use, it's a very basic, simple sock pattern. My friend Louise wrote it, and it's available on her Ravelry page. Her name is Louise Patterson, and her business is called Wildflower Wool. That's what she calls herself, and it is the super simple cuff down sock pattern, and that's the one I use all the time. It is a heel flap and gusset heel construction, and then a Kitchener stitch for the toe. It's very, very basic sock, vanilla sock, one of my favorites. Okay, I have a little mini finish to share because I finished the second star. Yay! I persevered with that ecru that was in the center. I had to rip that out and restitch it 3 times, but I finally did it. And so last night I finished the cranberry thread, the cranberry stitching around the outside of the ecru, and finished it up. So I'm hoping over the holidays to have some time and finish them into an ornament finish. And frankly, I'd love to immediately start a third and keep stitching those little stars because they are addictive. So this is a 28 count gingerbread. Picture this plus even weave that I'm stitching on, and I'm using the Leo and Roxy floss. This is very cranberry and antique wedding dress. So those are the 2 flosses that I'm using for that. And the pattern, you can find it's called Christmas Stars, and it was a chart that I purchased from the Silk Stitching app, and it came as an entire chart. So that's the way that I purchased it as. And then there are 25 different unique stars in this pattern, and I'm stitching them as individual little charts so that they will be individual ornaments. And I love them. And because I'm particular about how I do things, I think many of you can relate when you have certain quirks or you like to do things like when I watch podcasts or listen to if I listen to a podcast, like an audio podcast, or if I find a floss tube or knit podcast, or some other podcast on YouTube that I really like, I like to start from the beginning. If I really like the channel, I like to go back to the beginning, and I like to watch the whole thing from beginning forward. And so that means that I can be quite behind. For example, there is a podcast that I love called Craftlit, and Heather Ordover is the host of this. It's an audio podcast, and it focuses on classic literature. And every time there's a new episode, there are a few chapters of the book, and then Heather, who was a teacher, sort of leads you through the book discussion, and she sort of teaches to the joke. Okay, so she sort of explains what's going on, if there is any language in the chapters that possibly needs explanation, if it's sort of old-fashioned language that isn't used in everyday conversation, things like that. So it's one of my favorite podcasts, but I am literally years behind because I literally refuse to fast forward through. So who knows what the heck Heather is up to now, because I'm literally years behind. But a very enjoyable podcast. Now, how did I get there? Oh yes, having particular ways of doing things. Okay, so you could choose any one of these stars, right? You could choose any one, but I think of, if I'm going to just do them separately, I think about this as like reading a book. And so I start at I'm like reading a page. So I'm stitching them as I would read a book. Isn't that funny? But that's how I see it in my head. I need to stitch them. I must stitch them in order, like I would read a book. I know. See, these little interesting things that you learn about people. However, one more little plug for a stitch along, since I just so happen to be in the silk stitching app here in January, and I'm not quite sure when yet. I do apologize that I don't have a start date, but it's going to depend on when I have my fabric and floss, because I'm going to be very particular about what I start this with. And that is still a little bit up in the air. So this is what I plan. This is one of my 2 huge starts that I have planned for 2021. I am going to be stitching this. I'm hoping I'm hoping that you will join me. I have managed to convince Shiloh to stitch it with me. I have also managed to convince Carrie of Leo and Roxy, the dyer of the new floss. I have convinced Carrie that she needs to stitch this as well. And Carrie is a bit of a newer stitcher. So I have to say that I love her enthusiasm, that she took one look at this and she's like, sure, sounds like a terrible idea. Love to. So this is called the Virland HKVH sampler, and they have Dorothy and her son Justice have prepared this on the silk stitching app specifically for us to do this as a stitch along in January. So they've really pulled out all the stops in order for us to be able to enjoy this in any way that you want to, because it's not just going to be available on the app. If you do not have an iOS device, you will actually also be able to buy this as a PDF download from their website. I had said on Saturday that I couldn't find it, but I did have a viewer comment and said that it now says on the website that it's coming January 1st. So it will be available on January 1st on their website as a PDF download. So you can purchase it directly from the site if you don't have an iOS device. And that way more people can stitch it who want to. And I mean, oh, it's just, it's so gorgeous. So beautiful. I'm really excited about that one. So my Christmas stars, yes, so I finished the second one, and I know that I have no business starting such big projects, and it's fine. There's a very popular Instagrammer, Tabitha Brown, who often says, that's your business. And that is my business. That's my business. I'm going to start it, and I'm going to love it, and I can't wait. The other thing, I was hoping to finish 2 more things before the end of the year. The first one being my little mitten. This is my, there's my mitten. Look at that. It's coming. If I could just get it to focus. There we go. I have now finished the red diamonds, and I've started the heart in the middle. So this is the Holiday 2018 Evertote from the 2018 collection. I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. This is like the 10th time I've tried to record this. So I've said these things already 10 times before, and I know that you don't know that, but it's been a Monday of Mondays today, and I have had so many interruptions today, texts and phone calls, and the kids in and out, and John messaging me. The store, everybody in Ontario is moving into lockdown as of Boxing Day, and he has a retail store, and so there have been, and now the dog wants out. So it's like it's just been one of those days of interruptions. So I do apologize if today seems a little bit more Caroline convoluted than normal, but I really did. I worked so hard on my crafting over the last couple of days, and I've been so excited to share it with you. I'm doing this how many times, it doesn't matter how many times it takes me. So information detail is in the drop down box below, just in case I've forgotten to say anything for the 10th time. Anyways, here's my mitten. I'm finally starting again to see some progress on it, and I just think it is so stinking cute. I love it. Okay, last thing for today, last but not, I'm going to have to wrap this up because things are starting to get busy outside my door. I can hear my ink circles, Damask Square. Let me show you the chart in case you haven't seen this one yet. There we go. There's the original by Ink Circles, and there's the spelling of the pattern. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And here's mine. I'm doing this on a pre-finished fabric square by Ubelhor. I'm not sure how easy these are to find anymore. I purchased this from my LNS many years ago. It's one of those things that I can't even point you in the right direction to find another one. I do apologize, but this type of stitch, if you watch Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery, many of his pieces, he uses that finishing around the edge of his designs. I believe it's called a hem stitch. And I think both Ellen and I have asked Jacob if he would do a tutorial video on how he does his finishing, how he does that hem stitch. And I think he said he would. So if a few more of us say, you know, give him a little tap on the shoulder and say, hey, Jacob, would you show us how to do that? Then, you know, we could all be making our own pre-finished fabric squares out of whatever fabric we want. This is a 28 count, and I'm using 2 strands of silk floss over 2. It's a Dinky Dyes. Off the top of my head, I think it's called Pacific, but I would have to look that up. And so I'm focusing on this corner, and I'm going to be working my way around and completing as I go. So, yay. That has been really fun. There have been some nights where I've only just been able to put, you know, a few stitches in, and it's so satisfying. It's such a beautiful stitch. I love it. Okay, the only other thing that is really on my radar to finish up before the end of the year are the 2 Baltimore Ravens pieces, amazing stitch work that was sent to me by 2 viewers. Carrie from Australia sent me this amazing small logo on this absolutely beautiful hand-dyed fabric, and it's perfect to make a small bag for Nicholas. So I would really love to have these 2 things done before the end of the year, and trust me, Nicholas has not forgotten about them, and he asks me about them frequently. So I really need to get on and FFO these. So this is the first one. And look at this one. This is the second one that was sent to me by Mary Ellen. Look at that. Look at that. So she sent this to me so that I could make him a pillow. And it's going to be one of those Miss Patty pillows. And I have my, where did it go? Is it here? No, it's just, I think it's just right there. I have some flannel, and I'm going to, it's a purple and lime green flannel. And I'm going to use that as the backing and make him a pillow. But I don't have a pillow form. So what I'm going to do is before I sew it into the case, I'm going to order the size of pillow form first, so that I have the exact dimensions of the pillow form, and then I will make I'll make the case fit the pillow. So I have one pillow form, but it's only 14 inches. It's a tiny one, and I'd like this to be a bigger pillow for him to snuggle with while he watches football. So isn't that amazing? Can you believe that 2 stitchers just stitched these and mailed them to me? I mean, that's pretty amazing. So these, I really would like to have them finished, because they're treasures that I really appreciate, and by showing my appreciation, they need to be finished, fully finished, into objects that will be loved by my son for years to come. So those are on my radar to be finished in the next couple of weeks before the end of the year. And that's it. I think I've remembered to retell you everything. And yeah, I think that's everything. So it is, what time is it now? 4:15. So I'm going to go and make a cup of coffee. I do have some work to finish up today before I'm done for the day. And John is working late tonight, so I will need to feed the family and walk the dog. Mixed it up there, didn't I? Her ears just did a little, she heard what I said. Excited to share with you everything that I've been working on today. So I hope to have a few more stitches to share with you tomorrow. And don't forget, you've got one extra day. If you didn't catch last Monday's video and you would like to win a copy of the 2020 Flossmas Holiday Ornament, that's the one that you can see in the very beginning of every one of my videos. I am going to be giving away 4 copies, 2 copies on YouTube and 2 copies over on the Facebook group. Last Monday's video gives all of the information. And just a little update from Patty, we have raised over $400 on those chart sales for Muscular Dystrophy Canada already. Over $400 Canadian just on pattern sales. 50% of all of the pattern sales from Patty's pattern are being directly donated to Muscular Dystrophy Canada. The link for the chart is in the drop down box below in case you're interested and you don't have your copy yet. Okay, that really is it now. I better go. I will see you tomorrow. So take care, have a great night, happy stitching.